Alright guys, welcome back to game 1 here of day 2 at the NACL Semifinals. We're going to be doing Team Coast versus Determined Gaming as game 1, and we will see as they head on to the Rift. I am Egad, and joining me here is Studio. And we're going to look to see as they all line up across the field here and go for the defensive positioning, and I don't think these teams are going to risk anything at this point.
I mean, there's definitely possibilities for either side to get a good level 1. Daydream will have that AoE stun, can definitely set up something big. At the same time, walking into a scary brush that might have a Thresh, a Riven, a Vibe. There are lots of things that can really ruin Coast, and the same thing goes for Determined Gaming. If they walk in the wrong brush, they die, and as a result, both teams playing very passively. This is, of course, game 1 of the best of 3, and there's quite a bit of money on the line as well, so taking those big risks, usually you don't see it until at least one team gets a bit of an advantage.
Yeah, and if you look at the builds right now, it's a Door and Shield start for Daydream, and we're used to seeing either that Spell Thief's Edge or a Lucky Pick. So going for a very defensive and maybe a lot of poke in this lane, while the opposite side, Bubba goes for the pink ward and 3 green wards, so looking for a lot of early lane control as Broken kind of spamming that really cool buyback.
Minions have spawned.
Now there's one thing that I was predicting that was a 1v2 for Coast. Daydream and Door and Shield completely different. This now says that they want to go ahead, go straight up for a 2v2 bot lane. And Daydream playing Annie, like I said before, if Thresh gets a hook onto her, Annie dies. This is avoiding that problem though. This is going to go ahead and put them into a safer situation, a safer setup, because the Door and Shield mitigation is really quite high. Even though it's just a 430 gold item, or 35 gold item, it still provides a whole lot in terms of early mitigation. Especially that damage reduction from auto attacks.
Of course, yeah. Auto attacks are so annoying to deal with, especially with that play. Hard in the mid lane, Shifter and Arclaunch goes back and forth, balancing bombs. Broken Shard gets the blue buff already. Nice and early. Good little leash there. We did see Daydream and his Wiz Fusion waiting in that lane. I mean, waiting in that river to try to choose them out, but they could not go as they wanted to push the lane ahead, and they already have early dominance here as Daydream will push 3 auto attacks as well as Wiz Fusion and get that free farm.
You can tell he's low trade, he wants to take a bit of DPS. You can see top lane. Westrice and Zion Spartan kind of going at it a bit, and Zion Spartan doesn't really have anything to defend himself against yet. So Westrice at this point will focus on trying to apply a bit of pressure, dealing a bit of damage.
See how they do the trades. The stun lands on a Robert X there. He gets harassed out by some auto attacks while up top. The noodle fight is continuing. Westrice just going up Broken Wings, and Zion Spartan going to use that passive to just sustain back on up with that innate lifesteal. As Fusion and Daydream have the lane advantage, they have the early level 2, and X now clearing up that red buff will have his doubles, and I feel like he's just going to be a very farm-heavy jungler.
Yeah, like where can he go right now? He can go top lane. There is a possibility of a kill up there, but still relatively risky. And the ward has just gone down for Westrice, so he knows if he heads to top lane, probably can't pick up the kill up for at least another minute. Mid lane, Oriana's very pushed in. Bot lane, Roberto and Bubba have to hug their tower quite a bit. It's actually hooked.
Nice death sentence in the Flay, forcing out that exhaust on a Robert X Lee. So Daydream will just back off, saves the flash, but now in the mid lane, dissonance connects on a Shifter. He's going to flash. The Satchel Charge interrupts the Vault Breaker as well as his flash. So Broken Shard will get denied that one, and Shifter with a nice play gets out of there and saves himself a flash while up top. Zion Spartan gets stunned. No ignite, no commitment just yet. Just keeping him low and keeping him back, and a potential turret dive opportunity up there. But Broken Shard kind of making his way towards far ahead, hesitates a little bit, goes back to mid, kind of deciding where he wants to go.
I mean, that was a beautiful, beautiful Satchel Charge from Sifter in the mid lane. Interrupting that Vault Breaker is huge. Actually, Broken Shard has gone back mid. Fortunately not able to do a whole lot, and will be A-okay. That Satchel Charge, an amazing escapability, makes him one of the harder ganks in the game, and Vi especially, because you can interrupt Vault Breaker. You know, at this point in the game, if Shifter can outplay Broken Shard like he already has, there's not a whole lot. Zion Spartan top lane though, in a bit of danger.
Forcing out the flash, and he drops Ignite to keep him back and unhealthy. He has Teleport, so Zion Spartan could come back into that lane. Shifter poking out Arthbomb there a little bit, but Command Protect, just he has to shrug it off as the junglers just still farming up. Nintendo X just focusing on that farm on down bot, just the trade potential back and forth. And it's going a little bit in the favor of this Determined Gaming lane, not the Determined Gaming lane, the Wiz Fusion lane in Coast. So they're doing a good job of farming up, and they have a minor advantage.
Yeah, they went for the aggressive push. Daydream gets hooked though.
All right, into the Flame Choppers. The Flay stops that one as he will get zapped and flashes out. We're going to see the chase on a Wiz Fusion now. Auto attacks from Bubba, and now, finally, those anti-summoners are down, but Arthlon in the mid lane gets ganked by Nintendo X. Not even forced to flash, he just pops Dissonance, gets out of there. And that'll be the end of that action as We see the early backs coming in, a Thorn Shield for Zion Spartan, as well as double longswords for Westerice.
The Daydreamin' in a lot of danger bot lane. Broken Shard hiding in the brush.
All right, so we'll see what they want to do there. Westerice is going to go in onto Zion Spartan, just trade out a little bit, do a ton of damage. Wither comes through, and now the Vault Breaker does not connect to Nintendo X, but he will get flayed, and Death Sentence into the Flame Choppers and looking to get this kill, and it will be Broken Shard picking up with the auto attack. Fusion looking to be their next target, but he shifts away and will get out of there. That's going to be first blood for Determined Gaming.
And Nintendo Dex, unfortunately, right-clicking the second he got hit by that Death Sentence, tried to escape that gank as fast as possible, locked into a Flame Chomper, and secured his own fate. Great pickup, though, for Determined Gaming. If they can kind of keep that momentum, if Mundo doesn't get farmed, he is not out of uncontrollable.
Oh, a Flash Flay and Lantern into Daydream, and he gets knocked into the Flame Choppers, and an auto attack from the Fishbones as Wiz Fusion gets Death Sentence into the Flame Choppers, and a double kill for Robert X. Lee as some beautiful Thresh mechanics.
Bubba Dub, Death Sentence onto Wiz Fusion, into the Flame Choppers, guaranteeing that kill. No escape for Ezreal, no way to keep himself alive. Fantastic play from Determined. I mean, Coast Gaming, they were a bit greedy staying up there, but punished so hard. That is beautiful play from Determined. If they can keep that snowball up, you know, Roberto's going to have the damage. Mundo, if he doesn't get tanky, you can kill a Mundo that doesn't get farm, and jungle is not exactly the easiest place to get a whole lot of farm right now. So this is dangerous for Coast. Ziggs needs to farm up like crazy. If you can start killing Arthlon or pressuring him even more, that'll be huge. But at this point, if Roberto stays aggressive, if Broken Shard keep going for the ganks, and he's almost level 5, should hit level 6 relatively quickly, has a lot of jungle to clear. There's a great possibility that Determined Gaming can just snowball out of control at this point.
Anybody to stop the snowball, though, would be Shift or Ziggs. That late game, he could one-shot Robert X. Lee, and would make it really hard for him to enter a fight or get even near anybody on their side. So we'll see how Shifter can play that lane. He's going even. He's going toward the Athenes and Holy Grail. He's got the Chalice of Harmony already. And Ashin was the first picker for Wiz Fusion, so it looks like the return of the blue build Ezreal. But Robert X. Lee, BF Sword and Longsword, so looking for a ton of damage early on.
Oh man, Zion Spartan top lane, he's getting dunked. He's down 14 CS. Broken Shard was in the area, possibly looking for a gank.
The Death Sentence actually connect into the Flame Choppers, the Flay as well. They're going to look for the Zap. The Exhaust comes through as well as Ignite. Will Robert pull the Lantern? It looks like yes. The Fishbones doesn't get in range, though. He flashes for it, gets it. Wiz Fusion going to be the next target. Can they get the Flay? They will. He shifts away, and Robert X. Lee with one more auto attack from Fishbone gets the kill, while Shifter takes down, actually, Arthlon in the mid lane. Westerice and Zion Spartan going at it up top. It looks like a nice Mundo gain. Did guarantee Shifter a kill over there.
And now with that bot lane, like, you got to see that combo. It's the Death Sentence into the Flame Chompers, into the Zap. That is 3 seconds of being rooted in place for being stunned. Then, of course, you have the extra time with the Zap where you can't walk away. Daydreamin' hasn't had his flash for quite some time. With Fusion, I mean, his Arcane Shift is good, but the problem is if you're in the Flame Chompers, the Death Sentence can't use it quite enough. And Roberto has enough burst damage and enough sustained damage to deal with all of Wiz Fusion's HP. And I got to say, really cool play from Roberto there. He actually tried to use Fishbones and the AoE proc from that to finish off Daydreamin' before blowing his flash. Unfortunately, could not connect it, but it was cool to see someone try to really abuse that AoE. But the bot turret goes down. Now Coast is quite a bit behind. 3,000 gold at the 8-minute mark. And this is a game that can snowball out of control quite quickly with characters like Riven, with someone like Jinx. And now Westerice top lane actually in a bit of danger. Yeah, he gets withered, gets hit with the Spirit Fire as well as some of those siphoning strikes, but just backs on out with all the mobility that Riven has. We do see both Millers with blue buff right now currently, and the side of Determined Gaming going to go for the first drag of the game as well, snag that one away, and net themselves that 3.5k gold advantage. They're just so far ahead. You can see Daydreamin' and Wiz Fusion in the bot lane just picking up golems. The issue is Annie has relatively short range. With Tibbers, you know, she has decent initiation, but to move forward, to be aggressive, which is the Daydreamin' style of play, he has to kind of expose himself a bit, which if he hadn't fallen so far behind would be okay. He had the Door and Shield start, he could deal with it, but now that Door and Shield start, he's falling really far behind in gold compared to Bubba Dub. Bubba Dub's going to have the Sightstone first, he's going to build into more items, get the Talisman first, and as a result, we're going to have a really, really powerful, really tanky Thresh that has mobility with the Talisman and more ward coverage because of the Sightstone. And Daydreamin', so far, he's got nothing. He's got a pair of boots. Yeah. So looking for a little mobility. He's trying to get in for those stuns. But yeah, like you said before, Bubba Dub really far ahead. Those 5 assists paying off right now. And the 4 kills have net brought Riddixley a about 9-minute Bloodthirster. So I'm going to see when he gets that fully stacked up, as well as make the laning phase of his Fusion and Daydreaming a living nightmare. Now, Nintendo Dex can try to roam bot lane. He can very easily keep up with Roberto, even through a Lantern if he can come at the right time and surprise him. The problem is, I think at this point, Nintendo, he doesn't have any real armor. He'll probably just die. And that is kind of a concern. That Bloodthirster damage is incredibly high. Actually, Broken Shard in the bot lane now. We'll walk over a ward, but they know it's there, so they're going to send Bubba in first to clear it out.
Very smart.
Broken Shard is going to be undetected going towards this bot lane. Nintendo X might show up. Shifter might show up as well. But, you know, the burst and the damage from Jinx with Buy will just destroy at least with Fusion or Daydream immediately.
Speaking of damage, Westrise with that Brutalizer and the Vampiric Scepter just sustaining and chunking through Zion Spartan, even with this Glacial Shroud. We see Broken Shard still hanging around towards that bot lane. If a hook connects, we know they're going to go all in with that Assault and Battery combination. So let's see what they do as he hangs around towards bottom. Nintendo X is rotating towards top lane right now. Maybe looking for Westrise, who is going to drop his ward in that brush. So Zion Spartan letting Nintendo know to come to the lane. We're going to see him look to come in there, gets the stun, Broken Wings for the knockup. And Nintendo X is going to choose to do the white instead. So Zion Spartan holding him off pretty well.
He's going to white and see if he can go top lane afterwards, possibly. The problem really is that I think Westrise can just kill Zion Spartan. Zion Spartan, though.
Gonna look for the knockup with the Broken Wings, gets it out. The auto attacks and the Wind Slash is not enough. The turret takes out Westrise right there. Zion Spartan with that Wither just destroying Westrise's mobility and getting a kill for himself in a lane he's already behind, and putting the dog in an even situation is not something you want to do.
The dog is out of the doghouse. That was just a bit overzealous from Westrise. He thought he could do it. He really thought he could, but well, turrets hurt, man. Turrets hurt quite a bit.
Yeah. Especially when you're a very squishy Riven like that with no HP in there. We do see Robert X. Lee abusing the pink ward being visible there from the green ward and taking it out, as well as establishing some zoning. And with that, Bubba going over to the red. It looks like they're going to pull him over and make their way towards mid, as they might want to go for Shifter here. The Vaultbreaker does not connect, not in range for the Assault and Battery. And looks like there's going to be a potential 3 to 4 man push mid. They're backing off.
Backing off. Saying, all right, going for the safety. This is definitely a good situation for Determined to focus on lane games. Even though Westrise died top lane, he should be able to safely farm for the most part. Might start losing trades against Zion Spartan, and if that's the case, you know, that's when you send Broken Shard up top lane, or that's when you start going for a push. But if they can keep focused on laning ganks, keep focused on a laning game, then Vi with Assault and Battery becomes a lot more powerful, because a single target CC in a 1v2 or a 2v2 is a whole lot more powerful than a single target CC in a 5v5 in these circumstances. So if Broken Shard can really back up, I'd say Roberto, just make him carry. He is someone who, all right, you can stop an AD carry, but who's going to do it reliably? Nintendo X just doesn't have the items, and Zion Spartan, he'll still get shredded through that damage from Arthlon, through that damage and CC from Bubba.
And Nintendo X now, kind of go to mid, holding off that lane. He's got a Giant's Belt, so maybe looking for a Sunfire Cave Rush instead of sort of the Spirit of the Ancient Golem. We do see Bubba looking for a Death Sentence, a shift from Wiz Fusion. Fusion will keep him safe and alive and away. And there's a lot of ward coverage coming in from Determined Gaming's side. They're going to be able to spot out everybody in that red and keep themselves safe from any ganks. Nintendo X, though, kind of had only one gank in that mid lane and kind of helped out Shifter get that kill. And really, I haven't seen much from him just yet as he's going towards top. Maybe going to look to help Snowball Zion Spartan, who already has that one kill. Wither gets dropped out there. They're trading back with Siphoning Strike and the Spirit Fire. A ton of damage gets chunked out there. The Axe does connect. Going to pop the Sadism. They're going in all in on this one. Can they get the kills? It connects through the leaps. Now the Wither gets dropped, and the Siphoning Strike from the Fury of the Sands just destroying Westrise right there. And now the Mega Infernal Death Rock is coming up top too, but Zion Spartan will just absorb that with his doggy body of loveness, and now clear out the wave and get the turret.
Zion Spartan, cool.
Oh, actually, they're rotating it up. So, Broken Shard and Arthlon now, is he going to apply the ball to him? They're looking for the Vaultbreaker and the Assault and Battery. The Axe connects. It's going to be a flash of the Vaultbreaker, looking to go in on the Nintendo X now. Gets the Dissonance, looking for one more auto attack, and Arthlon gets it with Broken Shard shredding through him. And that'll be a 1-for-1, and they keep the turret alive.
Protecting the turret, keeping that global gold in their favor, going to be huge for Determined. You know, taking out those map objectives definitely has a bigger swing. Is now in the jungle. Going to be Bubba almost 1v3ing for a second there. However, Shifter does disengage with that satchel charge. That top lane fight, by the way, that was the circumstances of Riven already having used all her escapes, and that flash being burned that earlier gank. With that really high damage from Zion Spartan, he was at about 180 Siphoning Strike stacks. You know, he's got the armor shard from Spirit Fire, no mitigation on Westrise, very easy to chunk through her. And then you get a Mundo for backup, that's an easy kill right there. But Mundo in the mid lane, can he help protect Shifter if the push continues? Can he help defend against Broken Shard?
Can he help them stop them from stealing red buff away, as that True Shot Barrage getting Robert X. Lee the last auto attack for that one. You're going to see some Mystic Shots connecting. They're looking to go to Dragon right now as the Lantern pulls Robert X. Lee over. Broken Shard uses the Vaultbreaker, and we're seeing the mobility of their team come into effect now. as they grab their second dragon of the game. No stealing cleavers from the side of Nintendo X there, and that will get them a nice gold lead at this point. And they're going to go for the rotations on their other buffs. And with Robert X with a red buff, that's going to make pushing this mid lane very, very easy, as well as harassing out Nintendo X and Shifter, who did just use the Mega Infernal Death Bomb to clean up the wave.
That dragon, that was stylish. They also killed it incredibly quickly.
Yeah.
Now, we have two different power shifts. So mid lane is pretty even for the most part, even though Arslan died. Top lane, Zion Spartan for the most part has control. Like, Westrice just uses ultimate. He couldn't have gotten that kill anyways.
Yeah, so just clears that one out, and with an ultimate down, it's going to be a little hard for him to trade, as Zion Spartan's showing a very strong lane. He's 2 kills right now, hasn't bought just yet with that last kill that he did end up picking with that turret dive from the help of Nintendo X. Seeing Shifter just clearing out the waves with the bouncing bombs, and I think they need to send Broken Shard and Westrice with his ultimate up to try to kill Zion Spartan, because right now he's just sustaining through everything and ignoring Westrice. If he hit him with that Siphoning Strike, I'm pretty sure that would have just chunked away about 1/4 of his HP. And there it is. This Broken Shard is looking to come in from the river right now, looking for the Vault Breaker. Can he get it? It looks like he will get the knockup. There's a red buff to slow him down. A Psalm Battery comes in. Westrice gets the stun. It's going to be the Fear of the Sands to tank up some of this. A ton of damage on the Westrice, but he just charges on through it, through the Wither. Now Nintendo X fully healthy with the Sadism activated. True Shot Barrage comes across, does not connect on the Westrice though. So a nice attempt from Zion Spartan to live. Nintendo X a little too late to the party. Will net Westrice a kill.
Zion Spartan, if he'd only had that True Shot Barrage land, that could have been Nintendo X cleanup crew.
The Lantern was in Arthalon. They were looking for Shifter or Daydreamin, but could not find them.
Yeah, that was a great gank from Broken Shard. You know, Zion Spartan still needed to buy. He had a lot of gold in his inventory, has finally spent it, now has a Frozen Heart, as well as that Ninja Tabby, which would have been the saving grace. That's all physical damage coming out from Westrice and Broken Shard. And actually, Daydream goes aggressive on the Bubba Dub.
Interesting.
And it was a bit of damage, but there was no one around to protect Bubba Dub, but he immediately had to retreat because, well, alright, he might be able to survive Thresh's damage, but he won't survive Thresh's utilities. That Lantern would have pulled in Arthalon quite quickly. But Westrice top lane, you know, he hasn't bought yet. This is Nintendo X going to hold and keep pressuring until Zion Spartan shows up. And Westrice either has to risk dying trying to clear by the turret, and he most certainly would against NACL right now, or give up the turret or have Broken Shard protect it while the Zion Spartan shows up and delays for Coast. A really good map movement, but this does cost them the mid lane turret as Shifter had to go back to base.
Yeah, Marlotech gets that one. Broken Shard gets chunked away. Wither gets dropped onto him as well. Another Siphoning Strike, just destroying the HP bars here of the Determined Gaming side in that top lane. Mega Inferno Death Rocket comes in, hits Nintendo X, but there's nothing else to follow up. We do have that ultimate available for Westrice on Riven right now, but Zion Spartan just going to be able to tank through everything. The 20% CDR from that Frozen Heart going to come into effect. Bubba Dub and Arthalon looking to come in right now. Mobility boost, he'll be able to catch up very fast, but looks like he don't want to fight this one just yet, even with 4 members. And Shifter, in the meantime, is going to get a free push onto that mid lane, while Westrice gets withered, zoned away, and this turret might actually fall.
It's only got one more auto attack and all of top lane being abandoned. Shifter pushing in mid lane as well, so like just complete map control for a second there from Coast. Determined one to make that big play, but they were scared. Westrice didn't have the HP to initiate. Broken Shard didn't have the HP to survive his own initiation, so in the end they try to make up a play, but were a bit too cautious about actually committing, and as a result lose a mid turret. They're gonna lose.
Yep, and that static shift for Robert X now doing a ton of damage. Zion Spartan, Siphoning Strike, takes the turret kill, and will even up the turrets, as well as the gold is slowly creeping back in for Team Coast.
Now, this happens a lot. Coast might fall behind in lane, but one thing you can't let them do is play their game.
No.
If Zion Spartan just sits up top lane, his team can be behind by 40,000 gold. And as long as he can lane 1 versus Westrice, it won't matter because he'll stay up top, constantly apply pressure, and he will be an inhibitor threat just with how quickly NACL pushes through turrets. And actually, Westrice in a bit of danger top lane.
Wow, just destroying that shield with 1 Siphoning Strike. I can't wait to see when he gets a Sheen. He's going to be melting through everybody pretty much, and I'll take a quick look at his stacks eventually, but I'm pretty sure he's got a lot at this point.
Yeah, with that Frozen Heart, it's going to go up by quite a bit too. That's a lot of CDR and a lot of mana, which NACL so desperately needs at 280, I believe, right now. That's a lot of damage from Siphoning Strikes.
So strong. I can't wait for team fights.
He's going to hit 300 before the 20-minute mark, which is a really good threshold. But that threshold, I mean, if you can kill Bubba Dub in a couple shots, it'll be huge for team fights.
Robert X is going to have a really tough time getting away, especially without Cleanse, so we'll see. It looks like there's going to be a big fight over this blue buff right now, as the side of Determined Gaming are in a strong fashion, but Nintendo X with the Cleaver and Smite gets the blue buff and denies them that steal or giving it to Arthalon or anybody on their side. So a good job with him on point with those Smites right now. We're going to get cleared out there by the Seekers, and everybody going to rotate back to their lanes, as that bot lane is actually desert. Nobody else is down there right now, so it's It's kind of slow pushing forth side of Coast to Determined Gaming's tower, and I think they're going to send Robert down there as he does have the static shiv already and farming up a ton.
Now, so you can tell that West Rice is still a big enough threat to Coast that they're willing to send Zion Spartan up top lane. Actually, Daydream might be caught out here. A hook could land. Bubba Dub doesn't have quite available, though.
Ooh, Nintendo X goes in with a Vault Breaker. It does connect, but no death sentence for Bubba Dub. Kind of a little hesitant on that fight. They didn't want to go in just yet. There was a ward there. They did see him, but they didn't want to commit too hard, as the window is very hard to catch. As West Rice now going to get all in here by Zion Spartan. Going to pop the Fury of the Sands. West Rice responding with his own ultimate. Gets the stun, looking for enough HP to use the Wind Slash. Goes back in with a shield, absorbs the Siphoning Strike, but no, it's not enough. Zion Spartan, Siphoning Strike sustaining his way through that one and just decimating West Rice as a true shot barrage does come across 3 members of Determined Gaming. Nintendo X looking for a cleaver, decides not to chase it down, and with 10 seconds being left up for Dragon to spawn, can they grab it from the side of Coast?
You said you want to see that Sheen. He got that Sheen.
God.
He sustained 200 damage, I believe, from a Siphoning Strike. Might have been a little bit less, but that's the number that popped up green.
Wow.
Bird in a lot of danger, though, with Fusion going aggressive. He has a red buff, applies it slow, almost kills out Robert, but no true shot barrage for the finisher. And now this is Coast's style of play. They have the strong 1v1. They actually apparently have a stronger 4v4, at least cut out Determined for a second there.
Yeah.
And now they're pressuring Dragon. Now they're getting control of the objectives. If Coast can really make this their style of game, I mean, I don't know what's going to kill Nasus unless it's a 1v3 at this point, if he can really build up those stacks.
Yeah, and he did rotate down to help take the Dragon, and they did end up getting it away. Broken Shard, I thought, was charging that Vault Breaker to steal it, as now Nintendo X is going to make himself known in the lane and a presence, and will look for a tier 1 push, but 4 members of Determined Gaming, are making their way down there, as Broken Shard looking for the Vault Breaker, cannot get it. They force the Sadism out, as well as poking down with that Zap, and they can't find anything else to initiate on, so they'll back off, keep the turret safe, and Coast are going to look still for this push as Broken Shard flashes in, gets a ton of damage onto Daydream, and going to look for the Mega Infernal Death Rocket. That does not connect. He flashes away, gets out of there. Nintendo X and Wiz Fusion kiting with that red buff as much as possible. Zap does not come across. They're looking to chase on anything else. West Rice gets the turret up top in the meantime. Nintendo X going to look for that cleaver. Does not connect, just barely out of range. Going to look to stop their backs right now. Dissonance used by Arthalon to walk right out of there. And it looks like the 4-man gank was held off as Broken Shard now forced to go into that dissonance with the Vault Breaker and get out. And this could be a sign that the turret is going to fall. They could go for an attempted dive. Tibbers is available, but no flash for Annie. And oh my god, the damage from Fishbone is just wave clearing so well with that static shiv.
Looks like Roberto going back to base, so that could be the demise of this turret. And you can see Determined, they weren't determined. They really kind of broke their focus there. There was that moment when Nintendo X walked towards the first tier turret of Determined, put down a ward in the tri-bush, and he could have been initiated on right there. That could have been the time for a Broken Shard to go in. He held back, though, and then he won in a little bit later. And you can see that after he Vault Breakered in, flashed with, and hit Daydream, and he then backed off for a second, and then went in afterwards. And it was
going in right now. West Rice is going out to Zion Spartan, gets the Wind Slash, pops the Fury of the Sands, and pops himself right out of there.
And, well, Determined, like, they lost their focus for a second. They used a lot bot lane. And they're just kind of stalling this out, which for Coast, they're able to take a turret, reduce that gold difference to 1.6k. And even though there's a lot of good scaling, it's Ribbon, it's really, really good late game. The issue is, it's not necessarily who's powerful, it's the style of play that Coast brings to the table. And if the split push is started and can't be stopped, then what's the decision going to be? I think Determined have to look for a pickoff or look for that hard, confident initiation. They need the ball on Vi. They need Assault and Battery. Blow up with Fusion, blow up Shifter, blow up someone important and scary like that, and they could really go for inhibitor turrets or Baron with just one good power play. But they need to get that confidence first, and they need to make sure that their focus is going to go all in on a call. Yep,
and like you said, that combination of Assault and Battery Shockwave is so strong, but the combination of Mundo and Nasus is running on your face with that Wither and Cleavers makes Robert Exley's life a little bit harder, as well as the Tibbers initiation from potentially Daydream in there on that Annie. We'll see which team can get it off first, as will be a pink ward getting taken out there by Zion Spartan. Siphoning Strike for the stacks, and will make his way back up top to just keep on 1v1ing West Rice, who now has a Last Whisper and a BF Sword, but it looks like the Trinity Force in the making for Zion Spartan, so looking for a little bit of damage to combat West Rice, who has no defensive stats, so we'll see what he can do with that Frozen Heart. And still, everybody just kind of hanging around this mid lane. Dragon not going to be up for a couple more minutes. Baron not an option just yet. No one's too confident in their ability. Broken Shard going to go over with the Vault Breaker, looking to take out that pink ward right now. they will give him the command protect, and it looks like Coast will lose that pink forward and that vision as Shifter does pick up the blue buff now, so holding waves is going to be really easy for them. And they're looking to see if anybody goes out this wave, and it looks like the intended X will go. No Flame Choppers connecting. Death Sentence does, though. They will look to get him in with the Flay. The Mega Infernal Death Bomb comes across 3. The True Shot Barrage picks up a kill as well from downtown, and that will be Bubba going down, but as well as an intended X. We're going to look to chase onto Westerice right now. Wither does come through. Zion Spartan does not have the Ghost Master. We're going to look for the Siphoning Strike. Can he get it? It goes through the shield. A ton of damage from the passive from the ultimate. And that will be 2 kills globally in favor of Coast and 1 for the side of Determined Gaming. And still, Determined have that nice little gold lead.
Oh, Roberto in a bit of danger. We'll be able to go back to base, so they don't have vision inside that brush. One bouncing bomb would have been his death. Unfortunately for Determined, they just waited a bit too long. Shifter finally got his Athenes, Rabadon's Death Cap combination, and if you've ever seen a Ziggs pick that up by the 25-minute mark, the damage is insane. Broken Shard does not have Assault and Battery, but moving forward, Daydreaming with a good stun.
Yeah, a nice Incinerate stun there to stop him out and halt all the aggression, and that'll be the end of that one. But up top, Zion Spartan with those Sheen procs, bam! Just chunking away at the top tier 2. Looking to grab that one up before he does end up piecing the scene and going back to buy. Gets a nice 225 gold as well from that turret kill. We're going to see the tier 2 in the bot lane going to be the next target for Coast. As they head down, a few more auto attacks will snag that one up. The whip minions are almost there. With Fusion getting the last hit. And it looks like they're going to get a nice little blue steal too. So a lot of map control established there by Coast after that one fight.
Think about that trade too. Who died? It was the jungler for Coast versus the support for Determined. And then, of course, Riven did die top lane.
Yeah.
But regardless, in the end, they lose, what was that, 3 total turrets?
Yep.
Undetermined, and the gold swing finally going in favor, if by a tiny bit, for Coast. And that is just the result of Coast style of play. Shifter farmed up to that amazing point where the Mega Inferno Bomb, making sure I'm not saying Mega Death Rocket, is able to blow up Ziggs.
Mega Death Bomb, bro.
It was True Shot Barrage, Mega Inferno Bomb that almost destroyed Roberto. Yeah, that was 2 spells that almost killed him right away. And now all of a sudden that defensive option for Roberto not really there, because let's say he avoids the Mega Inferno Bomb. Let's say he flashes out of that, flashes a True Shot Barrage, and then now has to somehow deal with the big purple Mundo and the big red dog constantly on his face with Wither, with Cleavers, with really high damage. Arthalon is going to have to be the key member now with the help of Westerice and setting up a big ol' AoE fight where hopefully they can either burst down Shifter or chunk down Zion Spartan so low and Nidex so low that they can't just chase down to the back line and blow up their precious Jinx.
Yeah, in the meantime, though, Wiz Fusion kind of farming up. Still 50 CS behind Robert X. Lee. Does end up getting the Blade of the Rune King and the Trinity Force, so no blue build for him. Looking for more of an aggressive sustaining build that he can poke back and forth with and use the Blade of the Rune King to get away / initiate. We do see Westerice getting chunked out through his shield. Zion Spartan gets 1 crit there. Looking for another Siphoning Strike. Does chunk away a third of his HP. There's a Shockwave in onto Nintendo X while Shifter does get pulled out. Assault and Battery out at the boxes pop. He's trying to satchel charge his way out but cannot. Drops the bomb. Well, Robert X. Lee is going to be the target and Zion Spartan just 2-shotting him right now. It does look like Broken Shard did end up falling in a Westerice ultimate with a Wind Slash. Picks up Shifter. A Death Sentence does not save Arthalon's life and Zion Spartan is going rabid. Get this man a shot. He is going to push down with a triple kill and going to get the first inhibitor turret as well as an inhibitor of the game.
That's the ace. That was clean. The only member going down was Shifter, and he was actually caught out. That was a great team fight for Determined. They caught out the AP carry. They did have Westerice low on HP, but in the end, he was still able to get that snipe off. The problem is the team was so far behind, and they could not converge onto that scary, scary Ziggs that it let Nintendo Dex and Zion Spartan safely get to the back line and start killing those squishies. It made it so that, all right, Westerice flashed in, picked up the kill, but that had already cost Broken Shard his life. And in the end, he died immediately afterwards. So, Coast, it's only a 3,000 gold lead, but with that inhibitor down, with that cell of split push now made even stronger by that mid inhibitor constantly being pushed in, this is their game to lose.
Yes. And especially with the changes to 3.15, the Super Minion wave now has 70% more armor. So a ton of resistances and tankiness going to come in from those waves and going to force a lot of attention from the side of Determined Gaming. They're going to drop a pink ward out, and Bubba Dub going to look to make use of that Ruby Sightstone and drop some wards into the Baron Pit to keep that safe for a little while longer. I don't think Coast is going to pressure that. I think they're going to let Wiz Fusion keep on catching back up and farming and letting Zion Spartan be that threat that requires, I think, about 3 members now. He's got a finished Trinity Force, Frozen Heart, Negatron Cloak for his Spirit Visage, and we're going to see what the answer is from the side of Determined.
They have to make something happen. They can't just passively sit back. And making something happen in a situation like this is terrifying because, A, you need to know where Coast is.
Yeah.
They're going to be constantly in behind the ward coverage because they can't really move out too far forward to aggressively ward and defend themselves, Determined Gaming. So as a result, Coast will constantly be hidden. They have to know where they are. They have to hunt them down and then catch out someone who's out of position. But if you look at how Coast is moving, the only person who might be out of position right now is Wiz Fusion. And in the end, he's in a very awkward spot. Yeah. No one's going to be in that area except maybe the Dragon right now. And he still has Arcane Shift. He still has Blade of the Rune King to escape.
If anything, yeah, he's got his flash up in a couple seconds too. Should take away, and it'll be fine. We do see them grouping up now. Dragon is an option for them if they want to do that one, or we're just sending Zion Spartan to solo it out. Could be another plan. Rob's going to farm up some wolves, and looks like they're kind of rotating towards top right now. There's a pink ward that will spot out that one ward there that was placed by Bubba. And with this, they have an extravagant amount of pressure on this Dragon Pit, the Baron Pit, excuse me, and they will rotate towards top as they want to just let this bull push continue. Zion Spartan do his thing, farm up 7-1. On Anasis is so scary to deal with. And we're going to see them use the Essence Flux. They're going to push down turrets very fast, as well as keep the stacks up for that passive for Ezreal. And Zion Spartan is going to look to get initiated on here. They're going to look for the Flay. They do end up getting it. Fear of the Sands is popped right now in the box as well. Zion Spartan just going to look to try to take out Westrise. One more Q will do it, but the Wind Slash and the kiting from Bubba, as well as a ton of damage from Robert Lee, net them that kill, and that was the 3v1 I was talking about. You need 3 members to kill him, and they do it successfully, almost losing Westrise there. And that'll force the side of Coast to back out in that top lane now, as they do not know where the rest of the members are.
All right, big dog down. They got down the raid boss. Took him 3 members, like you said. Westrise, if there hadn't been the CC of Fresh, if he'd missed his Flay, then he would have gone down for sure. Yeah. And that is terrifying. And actually now Coast immediately rotating towards Baron. I guess the assumption here is no one would do it after losing their top winner.
They wouldn't think we'd do this. We're not that crazy.
But determined, they know Coast can be a bit sneaky at times. They're able to go ahead, put down the ward. You can actually see Coast going for the sweeper, just trying to spot out any wards that would have caught them. But that was just intuition from Determined, saying, wait, they're gone, they're MIA, they have a Mundo, they have an Ezreal, they have a Ziggs, all incredibly good Baron killers. Let's just check the Baron Pit as a just in case. But 1.7k in favor of Coast. Determined, though, they stopped the split push for a second, looking towards that Dragon pickup. Nasus does have teleport up. That True Shot Barrage almost made it. That was scary, man. However, Jinx auto attack does secure it. And, well, Determined, now that they've kind of relieved the pressure for a bit, the game might transition to more of a straight-up 5v5, which is going to be more their style of play. You do see Zion Spartan in the Baron Pit looking for wards, looking for coverage. This could be very easily a 2-man or 3-man. Like, actually, I think Zion Spartan needs almost no help to kill it. But they are on a ward.
They do. I guess the range is not enough for that pink ward to spot it out. So Zion Spartan just going to man up, do this one, just sustain right on through it. But Daydream is not sustaining as much. He's just getting destroyed by the AoE Acid Rain there. And Baron will be successful in forcing Annie back out of the pit. But Zion Spartan's like, all right, you're getting too low, Daydream. I'm going to back out as well. And they're showing the power of their team comp right now. Zion Spartan and Nintendo Dex could just solo that one out. Bubba gets sped up by the Dissonance and looking for a Death Sentence or a Flay if you can. And we really haven't seen too much of 5v5s just yet. Everybody's kind of splitting. This little skirmishes going around on the map. And Westrise is getting some alone time up top. Zion Spartan looking to group, looking for the Withers as Robert Exley without Cleanse or QSS. We're going to have a really excruciating time getting away from this Mundo Nasus combo.
Yeah, Nasus, by the way, at 480 typing strike stacks.
God.
So with that Triforce finish, I think he can hit for over 1,000. He can definitely crit for over 1,000 damage.
Yes.
Which, if you're like someone, I don't know, Roberto X. Lee, for example, who has
about 2,000 roughly 2,000 HP.
Less than that even, you're going to die fast. Yeah. So Zion Spartan, he's going to be a major threat. Definitely not easy to kill either. I think if they can't control Nasus, they don't have to kill him because they can't. They don't have to get away from him because, well, they really can't. They just have to make it so only 1 or 2 siphoning strikes land on important members for the first 8 or so seconds of a team fight, thanks to Thresh plays. If they can't control him like that, they're just going to lose the fight straight up. Oh, Cleaver doesn't land onto Arthlon. That could have been the big fight for Coast. Coast looking for initiation, though. They know they have the stronger team with that buffed up Nasus.
Yeah, so it's forcing the Determined game to play on the back end, and we're going to look to see them force this Baron out once again. Shifter and Wiz Fusion, though, helping out with Zion Spartan this time. Cleaver's coming in. Are we going to look to see the steal from Broken Shard like he's known for? He's going to go in right now. Doesn't get the smite. It will be the Baron over to the Nintendo Dex. Broken Shard gets the Dress Express out of there, but the Mega Inferno Death Bomb comes through. Not going to connect. No True Shot as well. Broken Shard gets out of there with a flash. The box to disengage, and Baron now on the side of Coast, but nobody falling from Determined is a good hold for them. But it did force a lot of summoners out of Broken Shard. He attempted and failed, but unfortunately, now Coast is going to push down mid lane, get this open inhibitor, most likely that crit for 1,000 on a cannon minion with the Siphoning Strike. And in no time, this inhibitor is going to fall.
Oh my god,
that's Lichbane too from Shifted too. Don't forget about that one. A double flay comes in from Bubba. They get the zap on Nintendo. That sentence connects in. They're gonna look to all in on this one. No, he flashes and sadisms away. He'll be able to kite now. It looks like Broken Shard tries to get the ball. Breaker cannot find anything else. Zap connects on Nintendo X again. There's a flash. Timbers coming in from Daydreamin'. Nobody else to fall but a shockwave onto Zion Spartan. There will be the Mega Inferno Death Rocket onto Daydreamin'. Robert actually picks up one with Fishbowl. Zion Spartan falls to Broken Shard now. They're looking for Wisp Fusion. The Ignite from Arthvallon picks up that kill. He's not even running Barrier. He went for the Ignite Ezreal instead. More aggressive. They're looking to chase onto anybody else. Can they find Nintendo X? It looks like no, and Shifter will be able to get out too. Might throw some bombs in the lane, stop the push for a little bit longer as Nintendo X does go back to base. And that was a perfect fight for Determined Gaming.
They got to make something happen now, though. The Baron, of course, still alive on Mundo, I believe. And with that Baron buff on Mundo and Shifter, that's a lot of damage, a lot of sustain. If they can't get that inhibitor turret down soon, then guess what? The big dog comes back up. He'll have spent a lot of his unspent gold, and they can very easily... Oh, that Death Bomb! Gonna stop the push, gonna chunk down Broken Shard. Zion Spartan will be alive in time. That inhibitor will stay alive mid. Determined, they get a little bit back in terms of gold. They're now even in gold, but guess what? They don't have the inhibitor. They don't have that map control back. Now, that was a great fight, though, because they were able to kind of catch Costa one by one. Like, all right, they hooked in Nintendo X. That was great. Daydream went in, but they hooked him again right after with Assault and Battery. So they spread out two key targets. Wisp Fusion didn't have protection because of the aggressive CC coming out from Daydream rather than defensive, and Westray slowed him down. So it was lots of little skirmishes going on, and Coast was coming in kind of one at a time. So they punished that super hard. They really got the benefit of that fight. But the question is, can they make that happen again? Will Coast make those same mistakes?
We'll see. A lot of armor penetration from Westrise right now. He's building towards his GA. Zion Spartan still stacking on up, looking for maybe his own GA. That Black Cleaver, as well as the Last Whisper, doing a ton of work for Westrush right now. And we'll see what he can do in the next team fight as everybody's kind of grouping up, moseying their way down to the bot lane, looking to start a 5-man push potentially. Teleport is available for Zion Spartan, so he could come in at any point for one of those fights. It will take a little time. There is that channel time, obviously. Broken Shard and Bubba trying to be sneaky, maybe see if anybody overextends. Just clearing out a ton of these minions. You see the souls going into the brush, though, so it kind of gives it away.
I'll say it's like you can see stuff going into the brush. Unfortunately, the souls, like you said, revealing a little bit more than they would have liked to for Determined. It's actually kind of funny. Both Thresh and Blitzcrank, the hookers, suffer from that same problem. Blitzcrank's ultimate reveals himself in the brush, and the souls for Thresh reveal him. However, you know, setting up that trap, trying to show their map presence, they're on the offense. They're trying to make their own plays happen, which is what they need to do. Now, Zion Spartan still up in the top lane. There could be the possibility of a very quick 5v4 if Broken Shard gets good initiation onto someone like Shifter.
Yeah.
But Zion Spartan will teleport. If they can't kill someone before Zion Spartan shows up in the fight, Determined will just get destroyed.
I forgot to mention that McHale's was finished for Daydreaming up there, so he could look to take off one of those death sentences if they do come in. That's crucial. Looks like one will miss, but going to have that on cooldown for a little while longer. Robert X Lee gets chunked away there by a missing shot as the last Whisper was completed for Wisp Fusion a while ago. And Zion Spartan just ignoring Westrise right now does just destroy that turret. Looking to turn around onto Westrise now, sustaining up 100 Siphoning Strike as the shield will come through, but Zion Spartan does not care. Looking to try to get this fight on his favor. One more will do it as he does pick up the 1v1 on Westrise, and now it will be Coast still pushing in. The Flash Flame does not connect, but the Death Sentence does. The McHale's cancels it, so he cannot go in on the second proc of that, as now the inhibitor will fall as no one can deal with this Nasus 1v1. He's just going to push the wave out. It's going to force 4 members to rotate, and they're going to lose that third inhibitor bottom if they do not respond to him or the split push from Coast, as they will just keep poking and prodding and leaving Zion Spartan to do his own thing.
He's playing PvE. He's not even trying to fight champions at this point. It's a convenient thing if someone's in the area.
Look at that.
It's nothing. There's no damage being dealt, but they're chasing him down. A 3v1 that could be enough. Assault
and Battery comes in. It's going to be the Death Sentence that does not connect with the Flayed. It's a little bit slow. There's the command attack. The box is coming through, but it does not connect. One more auto attack will do it. It's going to be the Ignite actually from Bubba to grab him the kill, as Robert X Lee's kind of alone right now in this 1v4, and he will zone them away. They do not lose the inhibitor. They hold on to that one. Baron is going to be up in a couple minutes, as well as Dragon now live. So with these objectives and with this map pressure, a lot of gold coming into the side of Coast, as well as a lot of pressure being applied to Determined.
I love the gold difference. It's only 800. A major gold difference will actually be Bubba Dub versus Daydream, and Daydream got his gold generation items quite late, so as a result, he's very far behind in comparison. But what's happening now is Zion Spartan, he doesn't care if he dies. Like, that push to the Nexus turrets. All right, he went down. That's cool. That's great for Determined. They killed the big dog, woof woof. But the problem is, all right, you killed the big dog, but you're losing your bottom inhibitor turret. And mid inhibitor has respawn, but with top already gone, that same style of split push pressure, that same style of coast game keeps continuing. However, Westrice, he does do a lot of damage. He just needs a little bit of backup to be able to survive Zion Spartan, who has picked up a Thornmail, so he needs that backup very specifically from Arthalon. But if they can take him down before a fight breaks out, if they can just go for someone, they need to just go for an aggressive play. It's risky, but it might be their only solace because that split push pressure is just not going to stop from Coast.
Yeah, it's going to be so hard to deal with. It looks like Zion Spartan's going to join the crew here. There will be a Lock of the Ascension used to disengage a little bit, as well as Sadism for Nintendo Dex. He's going to look to come in, pops the W to get himself some of that tenacity. And Wither does get onto Westrice right now. They're going to look to try to blow him up in a dark passes. The Timber is getting blown up by the Shockwave. Poor guy, rest in peace. There's the Mega Inferno Death Bomb, and it actually blows up Bubba before the True Shot Barrage comes through. And now it's going to be the QSS to keep him safe from the Wither for a little bit longer, but Zion Spartan going to chase down as much as possible. Flash Wither onto Robert X. Lee. There's the Flame Choppers. There's the Assault and Battery on a Daydreamer. Now Westrice is going to come in, gets the kill on a Daydreamer, chasing down as much as possible, looking for Wiz Fusion. The GA gets popped. Broken Shard barely gets out of there. Zap connects on a Zion Spartan, and I don't know what killed him. Maybe it was Red or something, as that will be a double kill over to Westrice now. That is going to be also a 1 for 4. Almost the ace for Determined Gaming. Now Shifter, the only one alive. He's going to run into Robert X. He's going to see him on the side here. Flame Choppers come through. He sees him. The Satchel Charge over the wall, but no. Fishbone's auto attack comes in. Gets the kill. That's the ace. Determined Gaming turning that fight around, and now going to net themselves either a game or two to three inhibitors.
I mean, it's 50 seconds for Shifter, 25 for Nintendo Dex. Daydream up in 10, but support Annie on can't do a whole lot to defend. That was just huge though from Determined. They were able to kite out, spread out the members of Coast. And the thing is, someone like Ziggs, he's not that great at chasing because all of his spells are A, hard to land, and B, only the bouncing bomb is long range. Everything else is going to be short range or defensive, except for the ultimate, which had already been used to blow up 4-4 Bubba. They do take out the inhibitor turret. Unfortunately, they can't go for any of the Nexus, and the inhibitor is down as well. But you know, that was that moment. That was that big play for Determined, able to go ahead, turn around. If they can take a Baron, this A denies a lot of that control of the map from Coast, and B, they're getting this. They are going to kill this Baron. It is already dead.
Pow Pow so strong for taking objectives. As you see right there, Wind Slash comes in from Westrice as well. True Shot Barrage a little late to the party. They will use the dissonance to get out, and now the momentum on the other end is Determined Gaming going to pick up that one and Coast. That fight, it just went so wrong.
It was a team fight. It's not their style of play, at least with this team comp. The problem is they felt like they're in control. It's because they're not playing straight up 5v5s. They're playing these kind of like long spread out games. The goal difference was, I think, in favor of Determined at that point. And the problem is, like, all right, Nasus goes in. He can kill people quickly. He's hard to take down himself, but he's not far enough ahead. He's not massively ahead that he's unkillable. He still has died in the past. He still showed that he could die right there. That's kind of the case across the board. Like, all right, Wiz Fusion does good damage, Shifter does good damage, but they don't do enough to overcome. Their team comp is not the best at chasing.
Man. All right, this game is back and forth. Still another gold lead back over to Determined Gaming after being down 1,000 gold at some point, and they've been ahead most of the game. Oh boy, let's see. Mercurial Scimitar completed out here for Robert X. Lee. The Void Stat, the Zonias for Arthalon. We're going to see them look for Nintendo Dex. Now Descendants does not connect, just barely out of range, forcing the Sadism out of Nintendo Dex as well. And bump it up. Nice job on that hook missing, but now they're going to move bottom. They're going to abuse their team fighting advantage. They're confident. They know they can win team fights, even through Zion Spartan's humongous burst potential with that Siphoning Strike that can continually keep hammering into anybody on their team. So they do not care. This turret at below half, they're going to look to siege it up, and in no time it will fall. We do look to see potentially a dive from the back here. Bub it up, and Broken Shard leading the charge. Ball Pricker's charge. It's going to be the knock-up onto Nintendo Dex as well as a Flay. Destinus on the side. They're going to focus him down as much as possible. Shockwave onto him as well. He gets blown up by the the Death Rocket from Robert X. The turret falls through. Destinus connects on the Nintendo X. They're going to go in with this on a Flay as well. Crits coming through. Random is able to slow them down, but it's not enough. Westrice picks up that kill on a killing spree, and Tibbers was even thrown out there to try to save him, but it wasn't enough to get him out. Westrice is dangerously low. Arthalon just tank it up with that Command Protect. Robert X. Lee sitting in the back with Fishbones as he does eat that bouncing bomb, but they do not care that much at all, and they will continue the siege. There are minions pushing into that mid wave. Just going to get one free pot shot there with that Fishbones, and when the wave does come through, they will be able to push this one down. They have to respond to mid. Super minions are going to keep wailing in onto this Nexus turrets. Inhibitor turret falls down there. Bouncing bomb connects. We're going to see some mines and some zoning for Shifter. but now the inhibitor falls as there will be the product out. West Rice getting taken out a half. Bouncing bomb does not connect. Robert actually kiting away. They're going to rotate towards top. Most likely the inhibitor in the mid lane is going to be spawning soon. They could just be waiting for that one, or they could try to close out the game here. They're going to go in. Destinus connects on the Daydream into the flash. Assault and Battery comes in. The bomb comes through for Ziggs. They do pick a 1. Can they end this game from the side of Determined Gaming? It looks like yes. And Team Coast are going to go down to Determined Gaming in the first game of this set here at the semifinals of the NACL. And that was one hell of a game.